Roy Williams is a marketing man. His clients want to buy whatever advertising sells the most product.
It's Rick Dees in the morning. All communication should be poetic. Bring him in, please. Roy Williams!
Essential to any company is the ability to get your message out. My guest says, don't give up hope. Joining me now is Roy Williams.
Yes, so how do you speak in poetry to people and get them to do things you want them to do?
Here to talk about the advantages of radio advertising is the author of a new book called The Wizard of Ads.
Joining me is Roy Williams. Today we're talking about his book, Secret Formulas of the Wizard of Ads. This is one of the most important books that anybody can read.
What makes people do the things they do? More importantly, how can we get people to do what we want them to do? With another part of the answer to that question, here's the Wizard of Ads, Roy H. Williams.
We're going to talk now about advanced wordsmithing. Now, the first thing you have to understand are the laws of primacy and recency. You see, psychologists know that words at the beginning of a list, the first words in an ad, are better remembered than the words in the middle. Likewise, the words at the end of an ad or the words at the end of a list are better remembered than the words in the middle. This is called the primacy effect and the recency effect by psychologists. However, in most advertising, most ad writers will sandwich the principal point of their ad between a very slow beginning and a very predictable end. And the attention of the reader, the listener, the viewer wanders. You have to splash into the imagination. You have to be more interesting than the thing that the reader, listener, or viewer was previously thinking. Now, this is what requires a very vivid first mental image. First mental image, or FMI, that simply means that because of the primacy effect, we must take hold of the imagination with a very vivid, instantaneously accessible first mental image. We've got to be there in our minds. You are standing in the snow, 5½ miles above sea level, gazing at a horizon hundreds of miles away. The recency effect makes it essential that you close with a stinging summary, a very crystal clear last mental image. Because the first mental image and the last mental image will be the ones deeply imprinted on the brain, the ones most easily remembered. This is not a choice we get to make. This is a simple fact, a simple law of psychology that you must be aware of. Now, jingles, drama, humor, and testimonials. These things are nitroglycerin. These things are incredibly powerful. Unbelievably powerful if you know how to use them correctly. Used correctly, they can move mountains for you. Used incorrectly, they'll blow your head off. Jingles, drama, humor, and testimonials. Please never say that Roy H. Williams doesn't believe in those things. Oh, I believe in them profoundly and deeply. I believe in them more than you can possibly comprehend. It's just that I know how incredibly, extraordinarily, unbelievably powerful they are, and there is a law of power that simply says the more powerful the thing, the more difficult it is to control. Indianapolis race cars, thoroughbred horses, anything that is powerful. Rock stars, politicians, you can never quite corral them. You can never put them in a corner. They're always volatile. It's a law. Let's look at jingles. You see, there is nothing more memorable than a motivated jingle, and there's nothing more empty than one that's average. Most jingles, unfortunately, are average, by definition. Jing, jinga, 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 jing, we like Billy Bob's restaurant. Jinga, jing, 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 we eat there all the time. Jinga, jing, jing, jing. You hate that. Broca's area of the brain says that was trite, contrived, predictable, redundant, and I hate it. As a matter of fact, the Winston jingle that we remember so well, Winston tastes good like a cigarette. It was the clap. It was the clap that made it memorable, the clap that didn't belong, the clap that surprised Broca. What about drama? You see, drama, when you have two voices in an ad, that gives us the power to compel by tapping into the listener's imagination, by reaching into that dorsolateral prefrontal association area, wherein is the visuospatial sketchpad. But the problem is, most dramatic reenactments, two voices in the ad, it's very predictable, it's very contrived, very transparent. We hate those ads. Hi, Sally Ann. That sure is a great outfit you have on. I'll bet you paid a lot for that. Oh, no. I bought this at Kathleen's Dress for Less, where they take Visa and MasterCard. Oh, really? Do they have a wide selection for women of every size? Oh, yes, they do. And they charge far, far less for name brand clothes than you would pay elsewhere. How do I get there? Now, I bet you thought you were eavesdropping on a real conversation, didn't you? You see? Drama. Two voices pretending to have an actual interaction. That can be an incredibly, amazingly, shockingly powerful thing if it's well done. If you cram the name of the advertiser into places where it would not normally be heard in human conversation, you might as well have a little robot flailing its arms going, danger, Will Robinson, ad, do not listen. But if you seduce the listener into believing this is a real interaction between two actual people, and if they talk the way that actual people talk, and if their voices overlap, and there's inflection and timing, and if they actually suck you into it so that you're there, so that you're listening in to these two people, that it's incredibly powerful. Humor. You see, humor can sharpen the point of an ad like no other whetstone on earth. Oh, it can make it razor sharp. However, it's just as likely to blunt your point and make your ads unproductive. The question is the humor motivated? You see, if the humor is motivated, that simply means that remembering the humor means that you remember exactly what the ad was about. Unfortunately, most humor is gratuitous. Most humor is thrown in there for its own sake, just to be funny and to be entertaining. These are the ads that you remember the humor, but you don't remember what the ad was about. This is the acid test when you include humor in an ad. If the humor forces you to remember the point they were trying to make, then it's humor that sharpens the point. It's humor that drives the point home. But if the humor is remembered, but it doesn't drive home the point of the ad, drop that ad like a hot rock. Testimonials. Now, this is really just a form of drama, you see. Just because it actually happened, just because this is a real customer, that doesn't mean the public has to believe it. You see, the public can choose not to believe a real story. Remember what we were talking about earlier with William J. Lederer and his friend James Michener? The public is very often more willing to believe fiction than nonfiction. Give me a good actor who doesn't sound like he's reading instead of a real customer who says, I always buy my cars from Smiling Jim because he treats me right and saves me lots of money. His cars sell for low, low prices. And now a commercial break. Buy that book. 100 short chapters, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss 17 bucks goodbye. And then buy this book, Secret Formulas of the Wizard of Ads. Contains most of the things we've talked about in this video series. And it was named by the Wall Street Journal the #1 business book in America and immediately became a New York Times bestseller. It will make you rich, it will make you thin. If you don't already get the Monday Morning Memo, subscribe today.
That's all for this section. Don't miss the next installment of The Wizard of Ads Academy.